Good morning. Welcome to the Stokastic.com MLB strategy show. Welcome back from the weekend. Hope it was a good one. We got a nice little slate here today. Some monster contests as well. 8 games on a Monday, Cinco de Mayo. Why do we celebrate that more than they do in Mexico? That's the question, right? I mean, I guess it's just a way for us to eat Mexican food and drink. You could talk about celebrating the heritage, but people are just trying to drink, if I had to guess, right? What is it? Their independence over France, like 1860? I don't know. I don't know many people that I come across who are like, man, big day, big time. No, they want to drink. They want to eat spicy food. That's fine. I got nothing wrong with it. But I'm not doing anything today outside of playing baseball. We got the Cinco de Mayo contest on DK, though. $5, $50K up top. They have another one, 111. That's 100K up top. So some good stuff across the board. Glad to have you guys with us. Hey, if you don't mind, take one single second. Atone for your sins this fine morning. Do it for Mexican independence. And hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below if you're listening or watching after the fact. Goes a long way. I appreciate you for it. Helps me against these fickle YouTube overlords. I have no clue anymore, what the algorithm means. Nobody does. We just pray. We piss in the wind and hope it doesn't blow back in our faces. But yeah, good morning, everybody. Andy, Cujo, Steven, Jake, BD. What's good, boys? Fun slate. We'll dive into it in a second, but I was just going over some numbers and just some of the stats and on some of these pitchers and stacks before we got started. And, obviously just looking at the top pitchers tool, there's very little chance that Cole Ragans isn't going to be popular today against the White Sox. Got a monster K rate on the season. Coming off a rough start against Colorado where he was very chalky. I'm sure all of us remember that because it was not long ago. But, I mean, I think he should be fine. The question now is, like, this groin strain that he was dealing with, should he be fine? I would say yeah. And also, how much of that groin strain had to do with his last 2 starts? Because his first 3 starts before this ever even became, it was unbeknownst to anyone, assuming it was a non-issue. This dude went 5 one-run innings, 10 Ks, 6 one-run innings, 11 Ks, 7 2/3 one-run innings, 10 Ks, and then against Detroit, 6 innings, 5 earned, 8 Ks, and then Colorado in Kansas City at Kauffman Stadium only went 3 innings, 4 earned, with 4 strikeouts. Clearly something was bothering him. I feel fine about him being back today, particularly against the White Sox. You know what I don't love? I don't love the fact that somehow every time we roster a good pitcher against the White Sox, it goes backwards. I told you guys, and this wasn't just a don't play pitchers against the White Sox. I'm not a moron, right? Not the smartest guy in the room, but certainly not dumb enough to fade guys against the White Sox on a whim. But we talked about it on, was it Friday? The whole, I'm good on Framber Valdez. There's way too much good pitching. And then he ended up not being great because it's Framber Valdez and the White Sox. Even Hunter Brown looked rough early on, ended up finishing with 8 or 9 Ks, which was huge. But yeah, I think out of the gate, how do we not? Jay Neville, what's up, brother? Good to have you guys with me, hanging out on a Monday morning. For real, I enjoy doing this show, and you guys make it worthwhile. Otherwise, I'd be speaking into the void. I don't really see much purpose of getting away from Ragans today. If the argument is, maybe this guy's not 100% right now still, I get it. But I would make the counter argument that if he wasn't okay, right? I mean, this is the crown jewel in the Kansas City rotation. He's phenomenal. I love this guy. I don't see why you would pitch him at all unless you believed he was 100%. Why would you ever rush back? The workhorse, the ace of your rotation, especially against the White Sox, right? So if we're just kind of using logic, uh, as Norm Macdonald would say, professor of logic, then you have to think, I think he's fine. I don't know why you'd bring him back against the White Sox for any other reason, especially knowing how good this guy was through his first 3 starts. So yes, I'm getting 53% Cole Ragans. Even if I was getting more than that, I'd be fine with it. I really would. The only other guy in a similar price point today, and we can look at this right now. There's a couple if you want to include Carlos Rodon, actually. But the only other 2 guys we'll say, Nick Pivetta against the Yankees. Pavetta's been awesome, 30+% K rate on the season, but you're paying $10K for him against the Yankees. And if you're worried about the last 2 starts from Cole Ragans, wait till you get hit with the Pivetta bomb, right? Where he implodes upon himself on the mound. I'm not saying that's going to happen today, but that happens with Pivetta. He's dodged those bullets so far this season. Another thing to consider is that game probably, I wouldn't even be surprised if that game doesn't play. I'm in the Northeast, right? I'm like an hour and a half from Yankee Stadium. I'm in PA. I'm in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. No traffic. I'm getting there well under an hour and a half. And I can tell you right now that weather does not look good here today. It's going to rain all day and all night. So could they? I guess. But you've got 2 respective aces on the mound for both teams. I just wouldn't be surprised if this game doesn't play. And then that leaves us with more Ragans ownership, obviously, even though he's getting a lot. Pavetta's getting nothing right now. Nothing. So maybe it doesn't bump it all that much. But now, you know what? It would have to. It would have to. Pavetta's getting 12%. Rodon's getting 17%. These guys are in the same game. So then that bumps us down to what? Boyd, who I like against San Francisco. Brady Singer against Atlanta. And these, by the way, are just filtering by price point right now, not ownership. Bryce Miller away from Seattle, outside of T-Mobile Park, where he hasn't been nearly as – I mean, look at those numbers. Those strikeout splits for Bryce Miller home and away over the past couple of seasons. Not good. So you got him against the Athletics. I think you'd have to get at least some of him, despite the fact that he's in a massive park downgrade. AJ Smith-Shawver, where do you go? Ronel Blanco's in a bad spot. I hate playing guys against that Milwaukee team, even though they come back to earth a little bit. It gets real ugly. And Jake DeWitt, what's up, man? I saw you right before the show started mention that good luck feeling good about an SP2. Yeah, good luck feeling good about anybody outside of Ragans and probably Matthew Boyd. If Pivetta and Rodon are wiped off the slate, and even if that game plays, what do we do with it? Even if they say we're going to try and get the game in, I'd say this much. It's still early in the day. What? It's 11 o'clock Eastern time. We'll play it by ear. If you're putting lineups in now and setting and forgetting, it's a terrible decision. Right? Not that you should do that anyway in any game without any lineups, but today seems much worse, especially given that among the top 5 owned pitchers right now, 2 of them are in a game that legitimately might not play. And then Tobias Myers. Matt Boyd's the one that probably stands out to me the most here. If we're talking that mid-range spot. Couple of reasons. Let's break them down. And as always, guys, you have questions, comments. You want to just shoot the shit, let's make it happen in chat. You know where to find me. But the weather in Chicago is real nice. Michael Kennedy, you got there before me. Chilly in Chicago, winds blowing in at 8 miles per hour, 51 degrees last I looked. Yeah. That's beneficial. Because Wrigley can play one of 2 ways. It can play super hitter friendly, can play really pitcher friendly. And Matthew Boyd's a good enough pitcher, right? Against the San Francisco team that's really not that scary. You're talking pretty much league average across the board. Granted, they play at an unfavorable hitter's park, but despite the strikeout stuff being down a little bit this year, Boyd does a great job of keeping the ball in the yard. All of the numbers for him at 8,300 on a slate where we just simply don't have a lot to work with, it's gonna filter us to him. I'm pretty certain we're gonna get a decent amount. 10% swinging strike rate. All of this is down from last year, where I believe he only threw 30 some innings as well. Yeah, but at the same time, you're pretty much gonna have to eat it. 4% barrel rate, 6.7% last year. He's a good enough pitcher. And that's pretty much what it all comes down to. So I'm not shocked that right now we're getting 26% at all. I'm not. Big ticket. There's not much of an edge playing today. I don't know, man. I mean, I think you can always find your spots. You're just looking for those leverage spots at the end of the day. By the way, I know I called myself crazy for considering it on Friday, but how about Gunnar Hoglund? What did his ownership come in at 4K? We talked about him. He went out there and had a stellar start against Miami. Sometimes you just have to run with some of those guys. I assume his ownership came up throughout the day. I can't remember what it finished at, but yeah, I mean, let's look at some value. Let's look at the top 2 value pitchers on the slate, because top 2 probable pitcher, right? Top 2 pitcher probability in the top pitchers tool. Ragans 34%, Boyd, Carlos Rodon, Nick Pivetta. Again, if you're just jumping in, they might not play. AJ Smith-Shawver 14%, Tobias Myers 11%. So you're pretty much just in this range of 10 to 20% with 8 different pitchers. Jake, think the Hog was 16%. Yeah, the old Hog had a great game. 22% in low dollar. Mochi BD said 16%. Okay, makes sense. I mean, he should have had ownership at 4K. What was interesting about that slate, though, is you just didn't have, you had a ton of low end bats you could pay up for too. But let's see. Let's look at value. Now, let me get this out of the way first, actually. Rodon and Pivetta. If these guys play, believe it or not, I actually like Pivetta a little bit more. Rodon's been awesome, so maybe you just say, I'm not worried about this matchup at all. I'm just going to run with what's working for me. He's cheaper than both Ragans and Pivetta. Fine. But also, San Diego just doesn't strike out, man. You look against lefties, you're talking 400 plate appearances, 18.6% strikeout rate. That's 3rd lowest in baseball. You go back to last year, this is a team that was the lowest in baseball, 17.5%, with a 9.1% walk rate, which was also 7th best in the league. So they make life really difficult from a swing and miss perspective, from a punch out standpoint, when you're talking about left-handed pitchers. And if it's raining, you've got Carlos Rodon. It just feels like a recipe for disaster. Does that mean he can't go out there and deal like he's been doing all year? Absolutely not. But I do think I would actually prefer Pivetta here. The Yankees, great baseball team, stellar offense, 128 WRC plus against righties, 2nd best behind only Seattle this year. 199 ISO is top 5 in baseball. But they strike out at a decent clip, right? They're tied for 6th with Baltimore. So I like Pivetta. If they play, if this game goes off without a hitch and we're not worried about this getting put, because we've seen a lot of this. How many games have we seen with in-game delays over just the past week? You know, fortunately, we dodged most of them outside of bats. Don't mind playing bats if we're looking at in-game delays and they finish the game out, especially when you're talking about, and maybe this is just me, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but when I'm looking at this interconference play, right? Or, non-conference teams. Well, non-leagues. What is it called? Interleague play? Or non-league? What is it? I don't even know what it's called anymore. Point being, when you've got these series between the Padres and the Yankees, an AL team and an AL team, literally across the countries, or across the country, right? Talking 3,000 mile distance, not in the same league. They usually do what they can to get these in. So if they think that they can do a late start, whatever it may be, I think it's totally on the table. But if it's going to rain all day and night, I don't know how they're going to get it in. So just keep that in mind. This game, probably more incentive to get in than you'd have like a Yankees-Sox game, right? Where you could legitimately make it up at any point in the season because they're going to see each other 100 more times. That's what I mean. So let's go value here, and then we'll look at some bats. All right, so top value, Tobias Myers against Houston. Where are you guys at on this? Where are you guys at? Tobias Myers, $5,700 against Houston today. Now, understandably, not the same Houston team as we've seen in the past. Fine. But also, not exactly the worst Houston team either. It's not the worst matchup by any stretch. It's right in the middle of the pack, really. You look at them. 14th in K rate, 95 WRC plus. That's probably like 20th, 22nd. So not great. 302 WOBA against right-handed pitchers is 23rd. So I guess you could argue it's a better matchup for Myers than you would initially expect. But he's also just not great. So 5,700 may just be a scenario where you have to play Myers. And sometimes if you look past the fact of, all right, I don't want to play Myers, fine, right? Right now, I'm essentially 2x the field. I'm getting 27% exposure on my first Sims run and 13.7% pool ownership when I generated a contest around 10 a.m. A lot of leverage there. Second most leverage among anyone I'm getting to other than AJ Smith-Shawver against Cincinnati. And I do like that spot for him. Here's the thing. If we're not going, and this speaks to Jake's point at the top of the show, if we're not going to somebody like Tobias Myers, where are we going? Are we going to Carmen Mazinski? Are we going to Miles Mikolas against Pittsburgh? Are there any other cheap pitchers that stand out? Do we want to go back to Shane Smith and just assume that somehow every time a White Sox pitcher is on the mound, he's going to be better than we expect? I guess. And Shane Smith's actually been pretty decent. Maybe that's not the wildest idea in the world. I don't love this Griffin Canning matchup at all. I bet him under 4.5 strikeouts last night when I saw, some sharp money coming in on that. That's down to 3.5 strikeouts now. Of course, the over is juiced. But Griffin Canning against an Arizona team that, they put the ball in play. Not a great matchup in Arizona. It's tough. Seattle's demolished righties this year. You've got Severino going up against them. I was just showing you guys this. Seattle has a 131 WRC plus, and they have absolutely cut this K rate in half from where it was last year, 20%, with an 11.5% walk rate, highest in the league. Yeah, believe it or not, they have become a brutal matchup for opposing righties. 183 ISO, probably top 5. Yeah, 5th in the league. They become a real tough out for righties. So here's our exposure. Ragans, Smith-Shawver, and this is assuming that Yankees game right now plays. Excuse me. Ragans, Smith-Shawver, Tobias Myers, Matthew Boyd, or Matt Boyd he goes by now. I like that. Rodon at 19%. Might not be there. Mikolas at 11, Ronel Blanco, because he's 7,300 at 8%. And then look at the basic non-exposure we're getting to some of these guys. Mazinski, Shane Smith, Bryce Miller, Severino, Landon Rook, Nick Pivetta, Griffin Canning, all sub 5%. All of them. So is there an argument to be made that we could pay up for 2 pitchers? Maybe. I think the most logical answer here, and again, let me know what you guys are building earlier in the day. What did I say about Mikolas, Michael? What, that just nobody wants to play him? Yeah, I mean, he's not good. He's not terrible. He just doesn't have strikeout stuff. Is the answer here to get a lot of Ragans and Boyd combos and Ragans and Smith-Shawver combos? That's what it feels like to me right now. That's what it feels like to me. No, I didn't mention that. Steven Sand, which of the higher owned pitchers would you stack against tonight? I mean, if you wanted to, go conspiracy theory that Ragans isn't healthy, you could play the White Sox. But I have trouble buying that. Again, I don't see why you would start Cole Ragans in the event that he wasn't healthy, especially when you're facing the White Sox. They're massive favorites today. No matter who you put on the mound, they're likely still favorites because that White Sox lineup is so bad. Probably if it plays, Carlos Rodon. If there was an expensive guy that I would stack against, Carlos Rodon would most likely be the guy. I'm just not convinced they're going to play at all. If there's one thing about Rodon is there's going to be games where this guy gives up power. And at Yankee Stadium, obviously it's more friendly for left-handed pitchers than it is for right-handed pitchers. But, he would probably be the guy. But I guess if you're talking about Pivetta too, right? Pavetta's been no stranger to the occasional blow up. He's just been really good. Pavetta's been one of the best pitchers in the league this year. I mean, I bet if you looked at Cy Young odds right now for the AL, what is he? Probably like top 5, shortest odds. Maybe better. I'm sorry, for the NL. Let's see. Wow, Nick Pivetta is being, wow, that is really surprising. Plus 3,500. Plus 3,500 on Pivetta. 9th shortest odds. I'd say, I don't know, man. That seems like disrespect with the way he's pitched this season. He's been outrageously good. K rate, if you're factoring in ERA and stuff like that, not many pitchers have been that much better. I mean, Skeens, excuse me, coming off a game where he just got annihilated by the Cubs. Plus 200? How could you bet on Skeens at 2-1? Yamamoto plus 250, Hunter Green plus 450, Wheeler 10-1, Webb 12-1, Christopher Sanchez 18-1, Michael King 18-1, Luzardo 19-1, Spencer Schwellenbach 20-1, Kodai Senga 25-1, Pivetta 35-1. It's crazy because when you look at these type of numbers that they judge pitchers on, he's 5-1 with a 1.78 ERA, a .82 WHIP, and his strikeout rate's got to be like 30+%. It's 29.3%. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. That's pretty wild. 35-1. I may sprinkle on Pivetta. Maybe he doesn't implode and we get amazing odds here on Nick Pivetta. What pitcher has the highest, for what, just who cares? But which pitcher has the highest WAR in the league. I mean, let's see. Who's it going to be? Is Pivetta top 5? Sorry, guys. Now I'm curious. We need starting pitchers. All right. Hunter Brown, Logan Webb, Luzardo, Yamamoto, Evaldi. So, yeah, he's top 5 or top 6. I don't know how long it lasts, but those are some sick numbers. Michael Henry, his name's not sexy enough. Maybe. I don't know. Daryl, what about his ballpark, though? His ballpark. Oh, you're saying green with the ballpark. Yeah, I mean, green's nasty. Steven, exactly. Pivetta gets stretches like this, then it goes very bad on a dime. But, Steven, I know you're a betting man yourself. If it feels like the odds are baking that in already. So, you know, I'm going to sprinkle on it. I'm going to sprinkle on the Pivetta Sai Young because if he keeps this up, shit, that's tough. Tough to beat. Anyway, take a look at some more of these guys. Give me in the chat, give me your favorite SP2 today. And it has to be, here's the deal though. It cannot be anybody above 8K. Can't be 8K or above. So you can't give me Miller. You can't give me Boyd. We already like Boyd, right? Obviously, it's not guys like Ragans, Pivetta, Rodon, any of those guys. Give me your favorite SP2, 79 or below. Severino, Root, Smith-Shawver, Blanco, Canning, Shane Smith, Ryan Nelson, Mikolas, Myers, Mazinski. I think I'm probably going to end up Smith-Shawver as my guy. Look at that. 3 Mikolas and Blanco from Michael Henry. Okay. BT, damn, now I have to sprinkle. Yeah, sprinkle a little bit. I mean, hell, you $10 to win 350. Check the odds on other books, though. Check the odds on other books first. It might be better elsewhere. Brandjoy, Mikolas. All right, let's dig into Miles Mikolas here. A lot of Miles Mikolas love coming in. All right. I don't know whether I should love or hate you guys for it. But his ownership is 6%. It's low. Bottom 5, 6% or 6 ownership on an 8-gamer. Top 2 value. Where's your boy? 3rd. All right. 4.2 run implied total for the Pirates. Maybe you guys can sell me on Miles Mikolas. I'll feel dirty afterwards. But we're going to see what happens here. 62 degrees, winds blowing across left to right. No big deal. 3 miles per hour. All right, get that out of the way. Pittsburgh Pirates against right-handers. I mean, we know they're not good, but how bad have they been? 112 ISO, 21.9% K rate this year. That's on about 1,000 plate appearances. We're starting to get to that really sweet spot with the sample where anything after that, we're in good shape. WOBA 293, bottom 5. WRC Plus is sitting 29th in the league. Oh, man. All right, Miles. Old mustache Miles. Let's see. Here's the fun part. 13% K rate. Well, that's lovely. The guy still hasn't allowed a home run on the season. All right. Feather in the cap for Miles Mikolas at 6,200. We'll take it. 29 innings pitched, 6 starts, no home runs allowed. Not bad. 6% K minus BB. Absolute dog shit, but that's okay. 9% barrel rate. That home run rate's going to come up a little bit. I mean, what's a swinging strike? I'm going to say a swinging strike's like 8.5%. That's my guess. Oh, no. I'm sorry. 6.1. much more. That's like minor league stuff. So, all right. This is the honest to God truth on Miles Mikolas. and you guys should probably know this, if you're playing Miles Mikolas, you're doing this as a way to just be like, hey, can he give me 6 innings of 1-run ball and 3 or 4 strikeouts and give me the win? That's what this is. You're not going out there hoping for a 7 strikeout game. You have some cheap pitchers from time to time where they might get blown up completely, or they could have 8 Ks. That's not really in the cards for Miles Mikolas. If you can live with that, fine. Fine. You could go to Carmen McGinsky. It's McGinsky. My fault. I've been saying Mazinski. You go to Carmen. I mean, the ML is wild here. Carmen McGinsky, who has made 6 starts this year, 18% K rate. Because most of his were out of the bullpen the last 2 years, right? This was a reliever. Yeah, reliever. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. I don't know. The matchup against Pittsburgh is certainly better than it is against St. Louis. And St. Louis just simply doesn't strike out. The answer, honestly, might just be Tobias Myers. The Sims might be right here, just from a leverage standpoint. The Sims might be on to something with Tobias Myers, because at least we can get, at least with Tobias Myers, we know that this guy's got strikeout stuff. Maybe not elite stuff, but at least double-digit swinging strike rate. 20+% K rate. There's something here at the very least. What was it? 2024, he threw 138 innings and had a 22.3% K rate, 22% for his career. Low barrel rate, doesn't really get squared up much. I don't love the spot against Houston, but I think you probably convinced me that this is a decent spot. 4.5 run implied totals, actually middle of the road today. Yeah. Brandjoy, I'm scared Myers won't pitch long enough. Yeah, reasonable concern. He's 5,700. 5,700. Maybe that's a fair assessment, honestly. 5,700, what do we want from him? Like 75? I think he could probably 49, 2 starts ago, 2 appearances ago, 11 out of the bullpen before that. Brandjoy, it's a really fair point. Real fair point. Well, actually, do we have odds? This is what we do around here, fellas. We don't just stop there. Let's see, and I hope you guys can appreciate us digging in as much as we do here, because otherwise we're not doing any favors for anybody. Let's see if there's actually some outs props on Tobias Myers. If there are, that's going to be huge. Tobias Myers total hits allowed. This is actually popping up as a plus EV spot. Under 3.5 hits, plus 165. But that doesn't mean anything if we don't have his total outs prop or projection. All right, let's go total strikeouts. What time is this game at? So I can just sort this the right way. 7:40. Okay. All right, total strikeouts. Start time. Oh, I don't want strikeouts. We can always look at that too. Let me go to pitching outs here. Pitching outs for Tobias Myers. I wouldn't be shocked if it's not on here, but let's hope it is. Nope. Damn. That sucks. Nothing on Myers yet. Do we have a strikeouts prop? Come on. There we go. All right. Over 3.5 is heavily juiced across the board. heavy juice. Minus one, around like a minus 175 average there across all of these books. Circa's got it at minus 185. So then you've got Pavetta at 6.5, juice to the under. Rodon at 5.5. It's a little juice to the over there. Brady Singer 4.5 against who's Brady Singer got today? Atlanta? Yeah. Smith-Shawver 4.5, heavy juice to the over. Look at Ragans. 6.5, over 6.5, minus 174, minus 164. Blanco 5.5, juice to the under. This is the one I like though. Matthew Boyd. I actually bet this at minus 106 last night. It's at minus 128 on FanDuel now. Over 5.5 Ks for Matthew Boyd. Roop 4.5, Myers 3.5, Shane Smith 3.5, McGinsky 3.5, Mikolas 3.5, and Griffin's back to 4.5. Heavy juice on the under. So yeah, look at all these. I mean, you got a bunch of 4.5s and 3.5s. Ryan Nelson, Bryce Miller, Luis Severino. I'm gonna run with the Sims right now because they've been really good to us, especially on slates like this, picking these type of spots where it's tough to find a good SP2. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter. Shout out to our boy Cully Poston. Look at this. Cully Poston, best tools in the game, took down the Mega 8s over the weekend for 100K, rocking that beautiful Stokastic avatar. Shout out to your boy Cully. Man, I love seeing that. We had another one yesterday too. A guy had, I think it was a 5K win. And first place was Stokastic. Third place was Stokastic. Fifth place, all with the Stokastic avatars, lighting the leaderboard up blue and yellow. But Cully with the 6-figure 100K win in the MLB Mega 8s. You love to see it. And guys, if you ever want to get access to these tools, the Sims tool, the Top Stacks tool, Top Pitchers tool, and like Cully said, right? Best tools in the game. Guy wouldn't lie. I've sent him out multiple rings already. The Stokastic engraved rings that you get for 20K plus wins. I've sent him out multiple rings. I think this will be number 3. He uses the tools every day, and he's won a boatload of money with them. If you want to learn how to use them, you want to jump in. Anytime, if you ever want to, DM me over on Twitter. My DMs are open at Laffy_D, LOUGHY_D. My handle's right there on my name. Just DM me. They're open. I'll give you a promo code to get started at an awesome price. I'll get you in at a good price. Real nice. So just hit me up on DMs and I'll get you there. Or as always, you want to check these tools out. You can, of course, and I tell you guys this all the time, just sign up with any of our sportsbook partners with the link in the description where it says sign up with our partners and get the Sims free. Sign up using that claim offer, any of them, whether you're in a non-legal betting state or a betting state, doesn't matter. Sign up on any of them, deposit $5 or $10 is usually the minimum on all of them. And then just deposit that, take a screenshot of your welcome email and your first settled bet and email us at support@Stokastic with those screenshots and just tell us what packages you want. And if you signed up for 4 different books or 4 different pick'em sites and sent us your welcome email and those settled bets, what, like you're talking total of $20, $30, you get 4 free months. And you could do a month of Sims for MLB, Sims Max or Core, sorry. You could do a month of PGA, NBA, NASCAR, all of them. And then you're set to go for a long time. But yeah, hit me up in the DMs, man. Hit me up in my DMs and I'll get you a code if you're looking to get in on these tools at a reasonable price. If you're a new user and you've been on the fence, you're like, I want to try them out. I see people winning. These changed the game. 2025, the edge in baseball is not like it once was. You got to have access to stuff like this for sure. Even if you're using the single lineup simulator where you're building them out, right, by hand and getting instant feedback on it from us in the Sims. That's another awesome way for single lineup, 3 lineup players where you don't want to run the Sims and play 150 or even 30 or 20. That's a great way. You get access to all of that stuff. So hit me up. But let's take a look at some bats here, some stacks. The one thing that's going to jump off to anybody is that Atlanta against Brady Singer. And a little bit surprising to me because Brady Singer's not bad. Hey, Einsteinium. Bruce said tools are expensive. Yeah, we've got a lot of different packages. And also, like I said, I would, anytime you hit me up in the DMs, people can attest to this. I always respond. I always get back to you guys. Make it a lot more easier, a lot more palatable for you if you want to try them out. Because I want everyone to try these tools out. That's why we ran the flash sale on Friday. I want everyone to try them because I think you're going to love them, right? And what better way to do that than to say, yo, come check them out. We want you to try them out. Muhammad, Mets and Mariners, sure. But yeah, Arizona against Brady Singer. Interesting. Brady Singer is one of those not super exciting guys, but also doesn't give up much power. I mean, he's allowed a home run in 4 straight games, but he really doesn't get rocked. You'd be hard-pressed to find those games where Brady Singer's just getting tuned up. And what was it, Kansas City last year? Right? Kansas City, Kauffman, obviously more favorable than Cincinnati, but this game's in Atlanta. Not to say Atlanta's the most pitcher-friendly park ever, but yeah, like Brady Singer's always been, outside of one season, the guy's always been pretty good. So Atlanta, we're getting to a lot of them, and I know why. It's just a straight leverage spot. You look at this ownership on Atlanta today, they're not going to get a lot of ownership. In the pool, we have them even lower than this from a 5-man perspective. We have them at like 2-3% from 5-man ownership. Not shocking at all. Because Singer's been good. Aside from that, looking at our top stack percentages, Mets against Ryan Nelson, yeah. Seattle against Severino is the really interesting spot. Right? We just talked about it. If you missed it earlier in the show, how Seattle's arguably been the best team in the league against righties, walking at a really high clip, strikeout rate cut down a ton. This park the Athletics are playing in is a far cry from the Coliseum, far more hitter-friendly, far more homer-friendly. So honestly, all of this plays into Seattle's favor. Let me see where they've been this year, where we're at now for this Athletics park. Is it still up there? Yeah, look at this. Top 5 in homers so far this year. What is it? Second in park factor? Crazy. First in doubles. Top 7 in triples. Obviously, small set. You're just talking 2025 for triples, but look, it's top 5 in homers. It's also remarkably bottom 5 in strikeouts, too. It's just really a much better park for hitters than that Coliseum ever was. So I'm not shocked we're getting to Seattle here. I'm not shocked at all. So all 4 of Severino's home runs he's allowed this year have been at home. He's been dominant on the road and really not good at all at home. So Severino, to me, the Seattle Mariners, let's check that box. That's a really good spot. and I'm very happy that we're getting a bunch of them right now. Kansas City against Shane Smith is the one that I don't know how I feel about just because of this ownership, right? More ownership by 3% on a 8-game slate than any other team. Negatively leveraged. Seattle's still positively leveraged. The Mets against Nelson still positively leveraged. The Mariners have the lowest leverage score on the slate. Or sorry, the Royals. We're still getting some, but we're basically with the field here. Whereas with Seattle, we're getting really almost 2x the field from what we're looking at 5-stack ownership in the Sims. We're getting way over the field in 5-man stacks for Atlanta. Over on Houston against Tobias Myers, which is interesting because we have 27% Myers. And then over on the Mets. No real complaints there. Are we going heavy 5-mans today and less on the 4-mans? Yeah, outside of these Seattle 4-mans, not a lot there at all. 3-man stack exposure, some Kansas City, some Houston, some Seattle. But for the most part, a lot of 5-man stack exposure to Atlanta and Seattle. Let's take a look at our lineups. Let me zoom in for you guys here. There we go. All right. And again, if you joined late, I don't know if this game is going to play in New York. Genuinely couldn't tell you if it's going to play, but as it stands, it looks bad. It's the only game that looks bad right now, but it looks pretty rough. Everything else looks fine. So Rodon and Smith-Shawver with a White Sox Mets 5-2. Kansas City, St. Louis 5-2 with Smith-Shawver and Blanco. Boyd and Smith-Shawver with White Sox Milwaukee. White Sox are popping a lot at the top, but my guess is that that'll trail off a lot. Just really high leverage spots. Here's your first Ragans Smith-Shawver lineup with a St. Louis Houston 5-3. Boyd and Myers with a 4-man White Sox. That is a wild lineup. No one's going to have that. Ragans and Smith-Shawver 5-man St. Louis. Okay. And that's what, against Maginski in St. Louis? What are the temps there? 62, right? Yeah. No crazy weather one way or another. 82 degrees in that Athletics Mariners game. 71 at Kauffman for Ragans. Winds blowing in at 5 miles per hour. Cold at Wrigley. Well, chilly, let's say, at Wrigley. 70 degrees in Atlanta. It's that Yankees game that looks bad. But yeah, try the tools out. Hit me up. Or use the link in the description. Jump in any package you want. Get the single lineup sim. Get access to all of this stuff. Access to all of it. Let's build one lineup before we go. What do you say? We'll fill out our stack. And then what we're going to do after that is let the Sims fill out the rest of it for us. So I think we should go Ragans Boyd or Ragans Smith-Shawver. I think we should be asking Cully Poston what he did. Shout him out one more time. 100K for Cully. Best tools in the game. I love seeing stuff like this. I love seeing our guys up at the top of the leaderboards. And remember, rock the avatar, stokastic.com/HOF. Make sure you have that. I know you love the picture of your dog, but no one cares about the picture of your dog but you. And I say that for myself. No one gives a shit about my dog. Right? Rock the avatar. Get a free month. You finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more. Just tweet us at StokasticHOF over on Twitter. Just tweet us. So you get the $199 value. If you get it twice, that's a month and then another week. This is in the calendar year. And if you make the Hall of Fame 3 times, even if you're entering the quarter arcade, you get 3 months. Or I'm sorry, you get Sims Max All Access, which is like a $500 value. It's every tool for every sport. And any 20K plus win, get the beautiful Stokastic ring custom in that engraved display case. It even spins. I tell them all the time, you put that on your desk and someone that you know, maybe it's like a holiday party. They walk in and they go, wow, what's that ring? Where did you get? Damn, 25K? You look at them square in the eyes and say, get out of here. You have no right to talk. You don't understand the game. Go. This game isn't for you, brother. I mean, you get that ring, you put that on your desk, you become a different person. And that's what you want. You want to look them square in the eyes and say, get the fuck out of my office. No, really, though, it's pretty cool. And I think you'll enjoy it. I send a lot of these out all the time. So make sure to rock that avatar. Finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more. Hit us up. A lot of stuff there. I want to go Ragans and Boyd. Should we stack? I think we got to stack Seattle here. Or Atlanta. Atlanta against Singer is interesting, but I want to go Seattle in this good spot. Let's go Seattle and see what happens if we round the rest of this out. Can we make a good Seattle lineup with these price points? I don't know. I mean, we can try. We got to go Rowdy Tellez here because he's cheap. Michael, rock the avatar, man. Who knows? You might blink and be real happy that you've got it. We can tell when people switch the avatars out right after they win to try and game the system. We can see. My boy Ron is always on the hunt for that. He gets pleasure out of it. All right, let's go Polanco here as well. Might be worth going 4-man. What do we have left? 3,800 per player. Can we get one more good one from Seattle? If we go Julio, will it work? That's 3,600 per player. We've got 4 spots. Let's see it. Let's complete the lineup here. I want large field contest. 20%, 25% the first, because that's what the $5 is today. Complete this lineup. Oh, it gave us a 4-3-1 Seattle, Kansas City with Alec Burleson against McGinsky. Let's simulate it. Let's see where this comes out to. Ownership is up there, so that could be a bit of a problem, but let's see. %. What if I replace Boyd with Smith-Shawver? Keep the same Seattle bats, clear this out, and let it complete this lineup for us again. What happens now? That gives us a little bit more salary to work with. Right? $800. Let's see if it looks different. So now we've got Bobby Witt, Michael Massey, and I want to come on, scroll, motherfucker. There we go. Ozuna and Burleson. So a 4-2 with 2 one-offs in Ozuna and Burleson at outfield. Any different with Smith-Shawver in there? Getting less ownership? There we go. Yep. So the Ragans Smith-Shawver getting that leverage on him against Cincinnati looks better, at least with this build, than with Boyd and Ragans, both of them getting a lot of ownership. Makes sense. Makes sense. And last thing here, do we have any home run props? I hit 2 nice home run props yesterday. I got Bobby Witt and Cedric Mullins. I went 2 for 3 on homers yesterday using the tools. I had a great day betting yesterday, man. Great day betting. And by the way, Portfolio EV, link in the description. You guys already know, first week is always 100% free. Get in there. Start placing bets. Anyone that plays DFS should be betting using a top-down approach like this. It's the closest thing to DFS you're going to get with our parlay generator too. The closest thing. Like, I generated these parlays in under a minute, and they added them all to my bet slip. I'm limited on DraftKings, which sucks. Like, you look at these, plus 1582, plus 1655, plus 1618. I had 100% exposure to 2 different pitchers across all of these, and then I just rotated in and out the third leg. Tell me that's not the closest thing to get it to DFS as far as exposures go. Try it for a week. It's awesome. Try it for 1 week, link down there, and start placing bets. And if you have questions, always DM me. I'm happy to help. All right. Nolan Arenado today against Majinski. Yeah. 10-1 on FanDuel. We've got the true odds at plus 914. Any other spots you guys see that we like here? Any other good parks? Salvador Perez against Smith. That's 6-1. Much better odds than all of these other books. Lars Nootbaar plus 750. A lot of St. Louis right now. I already bet Cody Bellinger at 8-1, by the way. I like that spot. Getting good odds. Ohtani plus 285. That's an early game, by the way. 6:40 Eastern. Lindor against Ryan Nelson plus 460. Careful on FanDuel if a player doesn't start, but they have a plate appearance late. That still counts. All right, I'm going to go play some parlays here. I'm going to go play a few round robin parlays for these homers. Have a little fun with that. Appreciate you guys hanging out as always. You are the best. And again, you want any of these discount, any codes to jump in, DM me over on Twitter at Lofty_D, LOUGHY_D. And I'll get you good I'll make it worth your while coming in over and checking out the DFS tools, the sims, the single lineup sim, top stacks, top pitchers, all that stuff. Yeah. You might even be glad you did it at the end of the day. But aside from that, we just went about an hour for this 8-gamer. I got to run. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another big slate. Guys, have a great rest of the day. Take something down. Rock that Stokastic avatar. Hit us up at Stokastic Hall of Fame. We'll shout you out right here on the show. We're working on some Hall of Fame videos to get started as well. Peace.